Welcome to the Mystic Women Podcast with your host, Mystic Women founder, Marlon. From topics like spirituality, connecting to spirit and psychic abilities to spiritual awakening, Marlon helps you navigate the world of spirit in a down-to-earth way. So, let's get started.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Mystic Women Podcast. I actually drew a card for today's episode because I was unsure on what exactly to talk about, and whenever I'm unsure about something, I use my intuition and my favorite tarot deck, which I've had for absolutely ever. It was the first deck I ever had. I learned to read the tarot on it, and it's been with me ever since. And the card we got is the Ten of Cups, which is such a beautiful card for wholeness and unity and relationships. It's truly a card that speaks about going with your intuitive flow and truly being authentic to yourself, being true with your personal values. Instead of following the path that other people expect from you, you lead your own way and you basically guide your own path. It's also a card that reminds us that if you enjoy doing something, you need to do more of it. If you don't enjoy doing something, you need to do less of it. You need to pretty much listen to your body, to your mind, to your intuition in order to live your best life. So based on this card, I'm going to intuitively right now choose the topic of this episode. And it's going to be all about how to align with your highest good. How to basically do all the things that are meant for you. How to align with your higher self and experience your true path. Which, sounds really easy, am I right? It sounds like it's no big deal. Let's just follow our path. First of all, let's find our path, which is pretty hard to do. And let's be completely aligned with our highest good, which is also very hard to do. So first of all, what exactly is the higher self? For those of you that don't know, the higher self is a version of you, an existing version of you that knows it all. Basically, it's a part of you that knows the way, that knows exactly what the path should be. It's a part of you that is hiding under a lot of layers of trauma, a lot of layers of self-doubt. It's the higher, wiser, more authentic, and powerful self. The higher self has no limiting beliefs. Unlike our physical self, which is full of self-doubt, our higher self does not know anything about limiting beliefs because they do not possess any of them. So this free and authentic, mysterious self is our higher self. And again, it hides under a lot of layers of ego. For a long time, I wasn't aware that I was communicating with my higher self all the time. Especially when I was into trouble, when I had terrible depression, when I felt absolutely horrible, my higher self was always there with a piece of advice. I assumed that I was just very wise, perhaps, that I just happened to, from time to time, come up with a solution to things. But little did I know was that I was communicating with my higher self. This is the reason why I do higher self readings, because I love connecting people with their higher self. I love connecting to their higher self and letting them know what messages are in store for them. Because connecting with my own higher self has completely changed my life. I remember just sitting and reminiscing about my life and thinking, where did I go wrong? And all of a sudden, this thought would come into my head with the wisest advice. And it wasn't until I realized that there's something a little off here. This doesn't really sound like me. Well, it sounds like me, but how did I get so smart so quickly? Where is that wisdom coming from? It sounds sometimes like I am thousands of years old and I don't know where the information I get sometimes comes from. But nonetheless, it's there and it's always been there. It's always been speaking to me whenever I've been ready to listen. And it's definitely a part of me that talks when I am very quiet. when I am in a state of listening, of active listening, when I am just myself, when I am being myself, it really comes through in a beautiful way. It first started getting very, very clear, or a little bit clearer, when I started meditating. I remember sitting there in meditation for the first time, and for some reason, all I could see were sharks. I could see myself floating in the ocean, and all around me were sharks, and I was petrified. This was the vision that I had while I was meditating, believe it or not. And I remember every single time that I would sit, I would always visualize the same thing. And one day, I heard "make them your friend." And I didn't really know what that meant at the time, but I realized eventually when I thought about it, I thought, of course, make my fears my friends. The sharks were a representation of my fears, and my higher self was telling me that I needed to make fear my friend. And there has been endless instances where I've gotten guidance, such as this one, where it's been like a little breadcrumb guiding my way. When I do higher self psychic readings, I absolutely love doing them. It's my favorite reading to do because I love presenting the higher self to people. I love presenting their higher self to them and show them how incredible they could be if only they would let go of their self-doubt and limiting beliefs. Their higher self always absolutely loves them. They think the best of them. They encourage them. They have encouraging advice. They say the most beautiful messages. I just love doing those readings because they are always so positive, and they really make people think. They really make them think about their lives and where they're heading and where they're going. And they always wonder how can they connect with their higher self on their own. And I love explaining to them that the most important thing to do is to be with themselves, to make time every day, to be in silence, to contemplate and relax a little bit from the hectic day and just be. You can use a guided meditation. There are many guided meditations on YouTube that you can choose from. There are so many beautiful meditations, and a lot of them are guided, and they go ahead and they walk you through the process of slowing down and paying attention to your inner thoughts, quieting them down, and really focusing on connecting with your higher self. One of my favorite ways to connect is automatic writing, which automatic writing is a form of, I would say it's a form of meditation where you quiet your mind and you grab paper and pencil and you basically are channeled messages from your higher self, from spirit. It takes practice. It really does take practice to do this. For some people, it doesn't work. But as long as you continue practicing, it will definitely work for you. There are also many guided meditations for automatic writing on YouTube. And when I started doing it, I got a guided meditation from YouTube. This was a long time ago. And I sat down and I did this meditation. I did exactly what it was telling me to do. It didn't work the first time. I continued at it. And then after a while, I started getting this message from my higher self and my spirit guides. They were saying, quiet your mind, we can't get through. And I would write this all the time. The thing about automatic writing is that sometimes you end up writing in a way where your handwriting changes completely. So it's like the spirit world takes control of your hand and relays messages to you, and you end up writing them down, sometimes not even in your own handwriting. Sometimes it's a little difficult to keep up because a lot of thoughts and a lot of downloads, better said, come to you. But all I was getting was quiet your mind, we can't get through. And I would do it all the time. I would practice and practice, and I would get the same message, quiet your mind, we can't get through. I have a very difficult time quieting my mind. I do have ADHD. Aside from bipolar, I have ADHD. And my mind is wild. It is always thinking, 24/7. Thoughts are bombarding my head all the time. It is so difficult to quiet down, which is why meditation is so important for me. But I knew exactly what my spirit guides and my higher self were telling me. They were telling me to slow down. They were telling me to center myself. And I'm still in the process of doing this. It's a lifelong process. And eventually, of course, I did practice slowing down. I'm still a work in progress. I am in no shape or form perfect in any way. I still have so much trouble quieting my mind, but I have gotten better. I will admit I've gotten better. But when I eventually quieted my mind just a bit, I started getting more messages, and I started getting paragraphs of information, of inspiring information about my life, of new ways of thinking, of just information, ways of thinking that I hadn't really considered yet. It was like having a motivational playlist playing, but it was my higher self talking to me, and my spirit guides, which I connect to very often. But hands down, the best way to communicate with your higher self, or the spirit world in general, is to meditate. It's an amazing, life-changing ability to be able to sit there in this world that is just so loud sometimes. Not sometimes, all the time. And it's amazing to be able to turn it off for a bit and connect to yourself. Truth be told, if you want to develop psychic abilities, which by the way, we all possess psychic abilities. It is not the special few who do. Everyone has the ability to connect to the spirit world if they choose to. And everyone has intuition. Absolutely everyone. We're born with intuition. It is a birthright to have intuition. And if you do take anything from this podcast, I hope that it is to sit at least 10 minutes every day. Start with 5 minutes every day. Sit by yourself in a quiet place. If you can't find a quiet place in your home, go to a park. Be there for 5 minutes and just be. Quiet your mind. And I really don't like saying quiet your mind because it's such a difficult thing to do, to tell someone to quiet their mind. Don't even worry about quieting your mind. Simply just sit there with your thoughts. If your thoughts become too loud, if you can't bear to listen to your thoughts, I do understand this can happen. It would happen to me all the time. My thoughts were intrusive. They were horrible thoughts sometimes, and it was really difficult to sit with them. But I promise you that as you practice meditation and you practice just centering your mind and just being there with yourself, you will get the practice. You will start getting better and better. And these thoughts will sound farther and farther away. And they're going to be replaced by spirit. They're going to be replaced by God and your higher self. I do want to point out something, because I thought when I first was trying to connect with my higher self and with spirit, I thought that it was going to come down at me like, hey, we're here. Like something out of the ordinary. And it's not like that at all. It just basically sounds like yourself. It sounds like an all-knowing version of yourself. It comes through in your own voice, and it makes a lot of sense, because if it would come in any other way, you would absolutely freak out. I know I would. So yeah, it will come in your own voice. These thoughts will just come to your mind in your own voice. It will sound almost like it's you giving yourself this amazing advice. And essentially it is you, because we are all one. And when you start doing this, when you start meditating, you'll notice that these messages will come to you even when you're not in a meditative state. Sometimes you may be just washing your dishes. You get in the zone for some reason, and bam, it just comes. You get the most deep thoughts coming your way, the most amazing messages from spirit. Now, I don't want you to get discouraged when you do try this a couple of times and perhaps nothing comes, but something might come. Something might come the first time that you do it. It might not come until a couple of times that you try it. But eventually, if you open yourself up, it will definitely come. Another amazing way to actually connect to your higher self is by raising your frequency. And again, this is another piece of advice that sounds so simple, but it's so difficult to actually do. because it's difficult to raise our frequency. We do have to be very disciplined and start analyzing ways in which we can actually do this, in which we can raise our frequency. For some people, it might be that they have to eat a little bit healthier. They might have to start focusing on that part of themselves, on their health. They have to drink more water, perhaps. They haven't been taking care of themselves. This definitely raises your frequency. If you're constantly eating terrible, terrible processed foods, it decreases your frequency. For some, it might be focusing more on your physical self, doing physical workouts to actually ignite yourself a little bit, to awaken yourself up. So again, eating lighter foods like raw fruits and vegetables, and working out raise your frequency. Getting out into nature, going for a nature walk will absolutely raise your frequency, moving your body, and also focusing on your feelings, such as, your feelings of gratitude. Are you being thankful for what you have? Are you really being thankful for what you have? And a very important one that sometimes is very hard for us to do: hanging out with positive people. Positive people will raise your frequency. These beautiful, beautiful people will help you raise your own frequency. It is absolutely certain. Because these people will introduce you to new things, which is also another way to raise your frequency. To explore new things, to explore new ideas, new books, new topics, new podcasts. And positive people do not gossip. They are all into uplifting one another and being inspirational to one another. They don't spend time gossiping or talking bad about other people because they understand that this is just a waste of time. So as much as you can, involve yourself with these people. If you are surrounded by people that do not bring you happiness, people that just stress you out, try your best to wish them farewell and go on your merry way, because these people are simply going to bring you down with them. It is so typical of us to want to fix these people, and the best way that you can fix them is by just raising your own frequency, worrying about yourself, and figuring out how to live a good life so that perhaps in some way you inspire them to do the same. You can't change them, so don't try. Now I want to do something very special for you all. I am going to include in this podcast, I'm going to attach it to the podcast, a beautiful higher self meditation that I have available in Mystic Women, in the Mystic Women app. And it's a beautiful meditation to meet your higher self. I really do hope it helps. It will definitely help you. For those of you who don't know, I am the founder and CEO of Mystic Women. It is a beautiful app for spiritual women. It has a sisterhood chat where women come together and talk about different topics. We lift each other up. We have full moon and new moon workshops, spiritual workshops every month, spiritual ebooks, and guided meditations like the one that I am going to attach to this podcast. All this you can get in a beautiful, beautiful app. It is called the Mystic Women Co app. It's available in Apple and it's available for Android. So you can search us up and get 7 days absolutely free. All right, so get ready, get in a comfortable, quiet place. If you need to pause this, go ahead. I will leave you all with the beautiful Gia, one of our amazing meditation teachers in Mystic Women. I do hope you enjoy this meditation, and I hope that you connect to your higher self. I hope your higher self has amazing things to tell you. And I hope you take from it as much as you can. Remember to keep an open mind, be receptive, listen, quiet your mind, and you are guaranteed to be on an amazing ride right now. So I will say my goodbyes now as I bring in Gia. Thank you so much for listening. I am Marlene, love and light always.
As you begin this guided meditation, take a moment to find a comfortable seated position with your back straight and your feet firmly planted on the ground. Take a deep breath in and release any tension from your body with a sigh. Close your eyes and begin to focus on your breath. With each inhale, imagine that you are drawing in white light from the universe. As you exhale, imagine that any negativity or fear is being released from your body. Now bring your attention to your heart center. Imagine a glowing ball of light within your chest that represents your higher self. With each inhale, imagine that this light grows brighter and expands throughout your entire body. Visualize yourself surrounded by a beam of white light, protecting you and providing a sense of safety and comfort. Imagine yourself standing on a beach with the waves crashing gently against the shore. As you gaze out into the ocean, allow any worries or stress to be carried away by the waves. Imagine yourself becoming more and more relaxed with each passing moment. Now visualize yourself walking toward the horizon. With each step, you feel more connected to your higher self. As you continue to walk, you notice a bright light in the distance. Approach this light and feel yourself merging with your higher self. As you become one, feel a sense of clarity and purpose washing over you. Allow any questions or concerns to be answered by your higher self. Feel a deep sense of knowing that you are on the right path. Use this time to ask your higher self anything you'd like. As this meditation comes to a close, bring your attention back to your breath. Take a deep inhale and slowly release it. When you feel ready, gently open your eyes and come back to the present moment. Know that you can access your higher self at any time. Trust in the wisdom that lies within you and allow it to guide you on your journey.